wins and this team loses, the Cubs play then. And if they win then, if this team wins, they play then. And if they play then, they might play then. That's annoying. So the Dodgers are winning right now. They're beating the Reds. Looks like they're going to win. The Cubs will probably play at 4 then. If that happens, that's what will happen. If the Dodgers lose, somehow the Reds come back, then the Cubs will play at 2 tomorrow. Sorry for opening like that. This is Cubs on Tap. I'm Joey Ricotta, riding solo here. As you can see, it looks like I'm in the ballpark at Wrigley, but I'm just trying to get a gauge, trying to make it feel like I am in the ballpark for this series. Tough loss today, obviously, for the Cubs as they went down 3-0 to the Padres in Game 2 of this series, and yeah, that sucked. Definitely sucked. They had a chance to just get out of here with a sweep and move on to Milwaukee, but didn't think this series would be easy. So here we are, and season on the line tomorrow. That's what's going to happen. I guess I'm frustrated, and before I get to the frustrations and some of the decisions with like Craig Counsell and the bullpen and all that, want to remind everybody that we are Cubs on Tap. You can follow us on X at Cubbies on Tap, CUBBIES on Tap. You can follow me at Joey Knows Nothing. Follow the rest of the gang as well. You can find it in the description when this uploads as a podcast. But yeah, it was just, I mean, definitely like it was going to happen at some point where the Cubs just didn't have enough offense, and the pitching was still pretty damn good. So like what we're looking at with the decisions, and I guess we'll just jump right into it. The opener versus, or Andrew Kittredge with opening the game versus Shota starting the game, and then, Shota coming in as a reliever. Didn't work out, early on. You wanted those righty-righty matchups with Kittredge, and you didn't really want Shota to face, Tatis and Machado and those guys starting off the game. I understand it. I think sometimes it's better in theory than maybe it actually is. And Kittredge, he's been so good in the late innings. He's been really good in the 7th, 8th, even the 9th inning when you need him. It's definitely not something that he's used to doing. And, in a playoff game like this, when Shota's been starting all season, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm more of a traditionalist, I think, when it comes down to it. And I like to see starters start and relievers relieve. And that's it. It works. When it works great. And you're the smartest guy in the room. And when it doesn't, and it's, we can all look back at it and say, well, what the heck was going on? And, Shota pitched pretty well coming into the game, or for the most part, once he came into the game, outside of, the big 2-run homer from Manny Machado. And then that raises another question of like, why did you leave him in to face Machado? I don't really understand why, because it wasn't like Shota was dominant by any means today. And you can look at it and say, well, the Cubs didn't score. They did not score. And that's true. They didn't score. It's 3-0. You didn't even put up a single run. So whether you give up that 2-run homer or not, it doesn't matter. But I want to push back on that a little bit, because I think you manage the game totally differently in the later parts of the game if it's a 1-0 game than if it's a 3-0 game. And what I mean by that is, the guys that they were getting on base later on in the game, you can start to play more of that small ball like we saw in Game 1, where you have Dansby getting bunted over by Shaw. You have Nico playing sac fly. You can do those little things when you only need a run. When you need 3 runs, you're managing the game differently. You're approaching the game differently. You're not just playing for the single run, of course, and you got to get guys on. You got to move them over. You got to make things happen kind of in bunches. Even though it's only 3 runs, you get a couple guys on, you hit a big bomb. Today really wasn't the day for home runs with the wind and everything, the way that it was playing. It seemed like it was killing everything. I know Machado hit the home run, But he really got a lot of that, and he hit it to the right part of the park, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It was just it's Manny Machado. So of course he can take one out pretty much anywhere because he's that damn good. And not that the Cubs don't have guys like that, but I think you're asking for more of a needle in a haystack type thing for a 3-run homer late in the game on a day like today, than playing for 1 run. So I still don't think that the decision was right there to leave Shota in the game. And I don't think the decision was right to have Kittredge as the opener to begin the game, anyways. So that's that. And I mean, that's just we can look back at it 100 different ways, 100 different times, and obviously hindsight is 2020. But I didn't feel comfortable coming into this game as a fan, and it obviously didn't work out for the Cubs. But you got another shot tomorrow, and that's the deciding game. And that's you can't really look at this as, oh, it's all doom and gloom. You still have another game to play. That game still, I mean, the Padres are going to have to earn it. This Cubs team fights. They've been fighting all year. They've bounced back before. And I do think they're going to have some momentum. Like Jamison Tyon pitching tomorrow. He's been on fire since returning from the IL. He's been really excellent. So I think the Cubs and I feel really good about his chances going into the game tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But as for the other parts of the game, I think there was some bad luck there. Obviously with Nico, he drilled that one up the middle and it kicks off the pitcher and right to first base and he's out. Another line drive that he was out towards the right field, where Tatis made that play. There were a couple chances there that the Cubs had, and I think they got a little bit unlucky at times and points in this game where it's, I think they hit the ball pretty decently in the first inning too, and nothing really to show for it. Um, you know, Shit happens, so you can't really look at it as, I mean, that's baseball. That can happen. That can happen any game during the regular season, during the postseason. It doesn't matter. Some days you're just not going to have the luck on your side, and obviously hoping that tomorrow is a little bit different. But um, I do think the positive takeaways from today, when looking at least from the pitching standpoint side of it, is yes, you did use Thielbar and you used a couple of guys out of the bullpen, obviously, with Kittredge being one, being the opener. And I'm trying to look back and see how many pitches he threw. He threw 20 pitches. So, I mean, if he's feeling okay, I'm sure he's going to throw again tomorrow in relief. But there's a couple guys that you didn't use and will be fresh tomorrow. Brad Keller, you didn't use. You didn't use Palencia. You didn't use Pomeranz. And then you're going to have all hands on deck. I think Matthew Boyd only pitched, I want to say, like 58 pitches in game one, something to that extent. So even though you want him available for that Brewers series, this is a do or die, winner take all game. You can't get to that series if you don't win this game. So I think Boyd would be somebody that, he's probably going to be available tomorrow if he's feeling okay, even on just a days or two days since that start. The other guys that could be available, obviously Colin Ray. He didn't pitch much today, inning and 2/3, but being a starter, I think he could throw again tomorrow if need be. And yeah, so I think they're still going to have some weapons there out of the bullpen, but hopefully JMO can at least get through 2.5 times through the order, 3 times through the order. It depends. I'm really interested to see how Craig's going to manage the game, because that he's going to have a really short leash, as he should. And I'm not saying that you can't trust JMO. You definitely can at this point, but if it's looking funny, like control wise, if he's getting a little bit lucky as far as hard contact and just the ball finding mitts, definitely keep an eye on that. Like the zeros on the board might not be as, you're not just going to look at it and say, well, he's throwing zeros, just let him keep going and get through 6 innings and see what we can do, turn it to the bullpen like a regular season game. No, that's not what this is, because at any moment the flick of the switch can happen, and Machado can take you deep, or Tatis or Merrill can take you deep. So you really got to watch how everything's looking shape wise off the mound tomorrow. But the bats, I mean, obviously Nico looked good at the plate. He's looked good at the plate all season long, pretty much no matter what. I obviously people are looking at Ian Happ and saying, "Well, what are you doing? Why were you in the 3 hole with your career numbers against Dylan Cease?" And I don't obviously it. I understand that point. I definitely do, because if anytime someone has bad or good career numbers versus a pitcher, and it's more than 15 at bats. I forget how many at bats it was versus Cease, but I believe it was more than that. I think then you really do have to look at it. Like, if it's 10 or less, I don't really look at it too deeply, because there's not really that big of a sample size, I don't think. But sometimes guys just see pitchers well, or they don't. And in this case, I don't think Hap sees very well. So I understand the point of moving him off the 3 hole, but I think Craig just really likes that structure of having Bush, Horner, Hap, Tucker, Saya, with that top 5. Good or bad, right or wrong, not really sure, but obviously it didn't work, so it's wrong today. And but he wasn't the biggest issue. I mean, he was an issue, but he's not the only issue, I guess. Like, you had PCA 0 for 3, you had Carson Kelly 0 for 3, you had let's see here, Bush was 0 for 3, Shaw was 0 for 2. I mean, like, all throughout the order, guys weren't hitting. So, I mean, we're that upset about Ian Happ in the 3 hole. He wasn't the only guy to not hit. They had 4 hits, they struck out 11 times, and they only walked once. So, like, are we? I'm not gonna like flip out of it, but we do need to see something from Hap. He doesn't have a hit yet in the postseason. Only 2 games, but he doesn't have a hit yet, and neither does PCA, neither does Shaw to this point. And those 2 guys, I can understand a little bit more, because they're well, PCA is not a rookie, but they're basically rookies, And I think PCA is a guy that can get himself overamped. He's a guy that he wears his heart on his sleeve. Obviously, if you read that Players Tribune article, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He gets the Cubs, he gets the fan base, he gets the history. He endears himself, I think, to the city and to the fan base, and just to baseball, and he wants it. And I think all these guys obviously do. But that's what makes this team so likable too. They're just such a good group of guys. They're passionate players. They work hard, um, and I have no doubts that they're going to come back tomorrow and just give it their all. And whether they win or lose, we obviously won't know, but until tomorrow. But I think they're going to give them that fight and put themselves in a good position. And that crowd, I mean, that advantage that the Cubs have with the Wrigley faithful, it's a big advantage. You can't understate that. So I give the Padres credit for showing up today after getting punched in the mouth in game 1, and showing out today, because they were on fire from a defensive standpoint. And Machado, the veteran, they were talking about, possibly future or probably, Hall of Famer. I would agree with that, with the way his whole careers went. I mean, look at him sliding into the dugout and hurting himself, and staying in it and still hitting a home run. I mean, or on that foul ball when he kind of crashed in the dugout. He puts in the effort, and he's one of those guys that he can come through in any situation, and been there, done that. And yeah, so they're a tough lineup to face. It's not easy going up against these guys. So I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, Shota sucks for giving up that 2-run homer." That's a legit dude that you gave up a 2-run homer too, even though he has his home run issues, and we all know that. Obviously, it's going to happen. So at the end of the day, you do have to put up more than no runs. You cannot win when you don't score. That's pretty obvious. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was nice to see, like the Cubs bullpen. I thought really after that, after Shota did a really good job. Soroka, Taylor Rogers, Colin Ray, Thielbar, those guys, they came in there. They did a pretty damn good job in keeping it in check and giving the Cubs an opportunity to, if they were to turn it on against the bullpen, that they could come back and win the game. But it didn't happen. And their bullpen, Mason Miller, man. I mean, Moron or Morone. It's not a moron. He can pitch. He was lights out. Mason Miller, he had 5 outs that he got, an inning and 2/3. He struck out all 5 guys, didn't walk a single batter. And then Suarez, of course. I mean, all those guys just throw smoke. And you saw like the pitch in game 1 that Brad Keller dotted on the low outside corner, the fastball, I believe it was to end the game. That was a perfect pitch, excellently executed. And then you have Mason Miller's from game 2, where it's the same pitch. It's perfectly executed, low and outside corner on the dot, but it's 104. And it's like, okay, there is a difference there. And I love Brad Keller and everything he's done. And I'm not even saying there's not a knock on him by any means, but it's a different level of dominance when a guy like Mason Miller is locked in and throwing the ball where he wants it. And that's what he was doing today. So obviously it's going to be really tough. I don't know what the Padres bullpen situation is going to look like tomorrow. They're using most of their horses. I'm assuming Estrada is going to be available. I'm sure most of their guys will still be available because it's do or die for them too. So we'll see what happens. But looking ahead to tomorrow, familiar face pitching for the Padres. You have Yu Darvish, who obviously former Cub. I will go to the end of time. Don't want to break my laptop here, but I will go to the end of time defending Yu Darvish. I loved Yu Darvish as a Cub. Obviously, the first year he had his big struggles. We all know that. The first half struggles in his year 2, and then he was dominant. That the second half of year 2 in a Cubs uniform, he was just dominant, and then was really good up until the Cubs wanted to save money, budget cuts and COVID cuts and whatever. Just traded him away, traded him to the Padres. But we did get Owen Casey out of it, and he looks like he's potentially going to be a stud. We've seen the flashes there, but it took a while to get there. But I'm forever grateful for Yu Darvish. I was rooting for him, and you know what? Let's say this. I said this from the jump when Yu Darvish was in a Cubs uniform. He absolutely didn't deserve the shit that he got from fans early in his struggles, because he pitched on the biggest stage of them all before becoming a Cub with the Dodgers, and the Astros were stealing signs. And, he thought he was tipping pitches. That was before all the scandal got released. Oh, they're cheating. They're cheating. Before all that, no, your confidence would be crushed too if the other team was locked on every single pitch, and come to find out it's because they were cheating, and that's why they were on every pitch. He wasn't actually tipping his pitches, so he got rocked on the biggest stage of them all, and then came to the Cubs, struggled, probably was trying to tweak things, I'm sure, but anyways, Darvish has not been the same this year. He's 39 years old. He's got an ERA. Ooh, I just looked it up. What is his ERA? No, I can't quite remember, but let me look that back up. He has given up a home run too in 9 of his last 10 games. So you want to talk about the Shota Imanaga home run struggles, the sometimes JMO obviously with the home run struggles as well. Darvish, a 5.38 ERA. He's spent a lot of time on the IL, and he's given up a ton of home runs. Like I said, 9 of the last 10 games, he's given up a home run. The only game he didn't give up a home run, I believe it was the White Sox. Yeah, so his elbow is still a big concern. I guess if you look into Padres reporters and what they're reporting on Darvish, it's still a big concern. Obviously, there was a report too that I think he was even considering retirement or thinking about retirement, and that day's coming. We all know that that's coming soon, but this is a game where, admittedly, I'm scared because this is a big revenge spot for you, Darvish, a team that just got rid of him, traded him away for basically pennies on the dollar at the time. I mean, you took a chance on all these young kids. This flyer took all these flyers. Preciado, Owen Casey. I can't even remember the other names in the trade at the time, but obviously Casey might work out, but Darvish, he I think he's going to come in fired up in this game, and he's pitched at Wrigley plenty, so he knows how to pitch at Wrigley, knows how to deal with the fans at Wrigley. So we'll have to see what transpires there. But this is a hittable Yu Darvish is basically my point. Like, this is not the same guy. Cubs should be able to at least get to him in the first couple innings or first few innings. I'm assuming the Padres are not going to have a long leash with him. They're not gonna let him just sit out there and get cooked. They're gonna turn over to that dominant bullpen quicker than normal tomorrow. But before we keep going here, got some comments. My boy Alap, season ends tomorrow. Pitching has been very good, but the offensive struggle showing up again at the worst possible time. He says, yeah, PCA, Hap, Tucker, brutal. Yeah, we've talked about that too. Not so much Tucker yet, but Swanson getting paid big money to be another Jason Hayward. Hey, listen, Alap, I will tell you right now, Swanson is not the guy that we're mad at right now. Swanson's got a hit in each game, and he's played phenomenal defense at shortstop. Save them runs in this series, especially in game one. That is, I will not be taking any Dansby slander tonight. Not at all. The council decision was dumb, but it makes no difference if your offense can't score. Yeah, no, I agree with that totally. I mean, I understand that. What I was saying at the beginning too, and I think it was probably before you jumped in, Al, but like the game gets managed differently in my opinion. If he takes out Shota, right? He doesn't give up the home run. It's not 3-0. It's 1-0. You get a couple guys on like they did later in the game, seventh inning, eighth inning, whatever it was. You manage the game differently. You could play a little bit more small ball to get that one run, kind of like they did in game one where Matt Shaw bunts Dansby over and then, Nico gets the sac fly. Obviously got some help. I think it was a wild pitch before that. But you could play a little bit more small ball. You can manage and go after just the one run. So I think from 3 runs to 1 run, it is a big difference. But overall, I do agree. Like you can't win if you don't score. So hit the freaking ball. But this is a tough pitching staff to hit against. So like in the Cubs defense, yes, the offense is struggling, but the main hitters, you just need guys to fight through and take advantage of mistakes. Like that's going to be huge. And going with pitches. Don't try to do too much. Like when you're facing heat like that and facing dominant pitching like that, you don't need to do too much. Obviously, you don't need to overswing. 104, it'll go. You put good wood on the bat, it's gonna go. You put good wood on the ball, that ball's gonna take off like crazy. So just gotta lock in, choke up, pull a Tony Rizzo and see what can happen. But yeah, with that said, man, tomorrow this is it. It's time to step up. We're gonna see what this team is made of. I think we know pretty damn well what the makeup of the team is. Like, they're fighters. We've seen it all year. They went on a really cold stretch there that felt like it was so brutal, but the cold stretch wasn't like they minimized it. Oddly enough, it wasn't like the worst cold stretch, which is why they had the record to end the season that they did. The Brewers ran away with the division, but I do think that the Cubs match up really well with them. I don't even want to talk about the series, the potential series, because you got to get past tomorrow. But I think we're going to see what happens. Al also says, got to play Mo Baller. Well, I don't know, man. Do you? Like, I know he had a pinch hit spot or whatever today, but he's 0 for 1. He struck out. And that's fine. That's going to happen. But I don't know. Who are you sitting? I'm not sitting Seiya. That no way, no chance in hell. The heater that he's on, I'm not sitting Seiya. And I know he was only 1 for 4 today with a double, but he had the Cubs' only extra base hit today too, so that's not a question. The only options, Tucker was 1 for 40, a nice single late in the game. Hit it well. Maybe that's a start for him to get going. Hap, the veteran, who I know I understand. I understand people's impatience with him and everything like that, but he's a guy that can give you a good at bat. Obviously Mo Baller can too, but he's a rookie, and I kind of want to see them go with who got them there. I'm not saying Mo Baller had no piece of this, but Ian Happ hasn't had. This is his time. You need to step up. Like, that's just what needs to happen. It's not. And if he doesn't, he doesn't, and the team loses. But I want to give him that opportunity because he's the one that saw this whole thing through from shit Cubs to good Cubs. He's been a part of this entire time. So I might be a little bit different in that thought process there, because I think everybody else just wants the win. And don't get me wrong, I want the win too, as bad as anybody. Like, need it. But I do think there's something there that I want it for Hap. I want it for him. I want him to come through in that moment. I want him to be a main contributing factor when this team has success, and they've had success this year. 0 for 8, 5 Ks, Hank says. I get it. Mo Baller early at DH against Darvish, then put Tucker in the game in the 5th once the bullpen comes in. I don't know. I can't. I need Tucker in the lineup. He got that base hit at the end of the game, and I want to see if he can build on that. I need Tucker in the game. I can't do that. I wouldn't do that. If I was Craig, I wouldn't do that. Yeah. I see. Yeah. And the reason why, I don't know, what are Hap's numbers versus Darvish? I wanna look at that too. Ian Happ shouldn't be your number 3 hitter, Hank says. I mean, I get it. Like, ideally, he's not like a perfect 3 hitter. He definitely isn't. What's the site I usually use? There's a site, Swish Analytics, I think. Let me see. Look at the BVP. Is that gonna show me tomorrow's? Let's see here. Bear with me. Pull up you, Darvish. Ian Happ is 2 for 13. No. Oh, I thought that was Nico. Yeah, he's 2 for 13, 2 singles. So 154 with 6 Ks against you, Darvish. Now, this isn't the same you, Darvish, but that to me is enough to, like, hey, why don't we move you down a little bit in the order? I'm okay with that. Like, you want to move Happ down in the order, or if you, because you can't put Tucker in left. I don't think he's not going to be able to play, or put Seiya in left. He's not going to be able to play outfield right now. It doesn't seem like. Al says Tucker's swing looks awkward. His upper body and lower body look disconnected. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'll definitely have to watch for it. I don't know if it's like, it hasn't looked good at certain points. I know that, but he looked good on that final at bat. So I'm holding out hope. Because if Tucker can turn into Tucker here in this series, that's huge. Not only just for this series or for this final game, but it's huge moving forward in the postseason. And remember, he didn't have many at bats before this postseason after coming off the IL. So it might have just been taking him some time to get in the groove. It wasn't like he went through this long, like rehab stint. He was rehabbing, but he didn't go through a rehab stint. A lot of times guys go on the IL, they'll at least play a few games, down at the minors, and he didn't really get that benefit. It's like, here, are you good? All right, you're back. And I think that needs to be like accounted for too, or something that we think about, and a little bit of patience with. I mean, he's a star hitter when he's on, and we know that. Got to barrel some of these balls up. Yep. let's barrel some of these balls up, boys. But yeah, no, appreciate you guys jumping in and talking with me here on my solo mission here at Cubs on Tap. And boys, I'm just get it done. Get it done. I want to see more postseason baseball. There's nothing better than postseason baseball, postseason Cubs baseball. There's nothing better than it. Wrigley's been rocking for both of these games, especially game one when Seiya took that one deep, when Carson Kelly took that one deep. Some of the loudest moments at Wrigley ever. And even Pat Hughes will tell you that. And it doesn't get better than that. And I need more. I need pump it into my veins. Like it gets me a little emotional just as a Cubs fan since I was a kid. Like that, those are the moments that you want to see. Like so yeah, so I'm excited. Hopefully we can get that. And my little rant to begin the show, by the way, or when I started talking, why can't they play games at the same time? Like, why do you need to stagger them out and have day baseball, weekday baseball? I love day games. Don't get me wrong. Playoff or just day games in general at Wrigley, amazing. But weekday day games, when people work, it's just not just for me, and it is a huge week work wise for me. So, like, yeah, obviously I'm upset. But the fact that you can't stagger these game out, oh, Yankees got to be Yankees, prime time. And it's Yankees, Red Sox, it's a rivalry, so I get that too. But you can't play these games the same. The NFL does that every week, right? With the highest ratings. The NFL does it every Sunday. They play games at the same time, noon or 1 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Central time, that second window. They play games at the same time all the time. And it's confirmed 4 p.m. start time now for the Cubs with the Dodgers victory tonight. And yeah, I just don't like having to like wait around. And the other thing too, MLB, the app, pull up the MLB app. They have the schedule for tomorrow. They put the game at 2:08. And they had all the games listed with their times. So if you're telling me that the game actually can change dependent upon what takes place in the other games, why even list the time on MLB? So you just want to throw people off. So if I check that, right, if I wasn't as much of a diehard as I am, and I check that at 6:00 at night or whatever, oh yeah, Cubs are playing at 2:08, and I'm not like tuned in like that. Cubs are playing at 2:08. So I go at 2:08 and they're not playing, or I change my whole schedule just so I can. I guess that would be what a diehard does. The point is, yeah, I know, kind of took away what I was saying there, but the point is, why would you want to make it more difficult for people to watch games? And then also like the people that probably will take off work, or people that can afford the games, the people that are working, that are able to spend money on your product and go to games, and also get all your subscriptions to be able to watch the games or whatever. Why would you want to put it on during the day in the playoffs? Makes no sense to me. I thought we were trying to gain viewership. So that's a message to Rob Manfred. I think it's ridiculous how you schedule things, or just don't know how to schedule things. But yeah, like we're just not going to go down that entire rabbit hole tonight. But tomorrow, 4:00, and I think it might be 4:08 or something. But yeah, 4:08 Central Time, ESPN, Cubs, Padres, Jameson Taillon versus old friend Yu Darvish at Wrigley. Should be rocking. Hopefully the Cubs can pull it out and continue to play, because I don't want their season to end. I don't know about you guys. I don't know. I don't want their season to end. Lap says, imagine a Thursday night celebration in the city if the Cubs win. Oh, Thirsty Thursday. The weekend begins on Thursday, as Ron Luce would always like to say. Yeah, Thirsty Thursday night celebration in Chicago. Cubs win. Come on. You're starting your weekend in a great way. With that said, though, we are Cubs on Tap. I am Joey at Ricotta at Joey Knows Nothing. You can follow the show at Cubbies on Tap, Cubbies on Tap. Go to ontapsportsnet.com. Check out all the content over there. You got Cubs, Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, even the White Sox, golf. You can get it all over there and the YouTube channel as well. But yeah, that's about it, man. Cubs versus Brewers. Al says Cubs versus Brewers, please. MLB needs to rig this. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way, and they sometimes some things can be a little bit fishy. I think MLB would want to see that series. I really do. I think Cubs Brewers in the playoffs, the way that rivalries kind of went back and forth over the last few years and become more of a big thing, a big deal than even like Cubs Cardinals, because the Cardinals just haven't really been, well, especially this year, just haven't been that good. But it's just felt bigger lately with Cubs Brewers, and maybe it's the Craig Counsell thing, maybe it's just the Brewers seeming to annoy the living shit out of us as Cubs fans and just be good. I think anytime a team is just good over an extended period of time, and it's not like they've won anything come October, but anytime a team is good over an extended period of time, it tends to elevate your level of disdain for them, I think, as a fan of the opposing team. So yeah. But anyways, like I said, we are Cubs on tap. I'm hoping we can fly it tomorrow, boys. Hoping we can fly it tomorrow. Get it done. Fuck the Cardinals tomorrow. Fuck the Padres. And let's go Cubbies.